Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys at Magic. This is Hunter, David, Shane, and Steven. Say what up, boys.
Yo, what's going on?
Hello.
What's up, nerds?
We are back. This time we are taking a look at the Lord of the Rings Winter Edition, I guess they're calling it. They're basically releasing brand new Lord of the Rings cards that weren't from the original set, just as a little extra to this set. Each one comes with their own panoramic kind of scenery, I guess. But we did get 4 brand new legendary creatures, so why not give them some grades? So this is the Commander grade video. If you guys didn't watch this already, basically we go talk about these cards, talk about how they could be as a potential commander, and at the end we give them a grade, and then we just give an average grade at the end. But before we get started, I want to let everybody know we finally did it. We've created a Patreon. That is correct. A lot of you have asked if we have a Patreon. Well, we finally did it. If you guys wanted to support us an extra, more than you already do, just watching these videos is more than enough. Check the link in the description down below where you can find our Patreon link and check out what we got going on. We got some extra bonus footage. We got some goodies we're giving out. Just a little extra, just say thank you. But let's go ahead and get started with this video, starting with our very first brand new legendary creature. That is Aragorn, Hornburg Hero. Aragorn Hornburg Hero is 1, a red, a green, and a white for a 4/4 legendary creature human soldier. It says attacking creatures you control have first strike and renown 1. If you guys don't remember what renown is, it says when a creature with renown 1 deals combat damage to a player, if it isn't renowned, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it becomes renowned. And it also says whenever a renowned creature you control deals combat damage to a player, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. I'll start us off. We all did create these decks, and spoiler alert, that video will be coming later. We did battle them out, so you'll see who wins. But I had the opportunity to build Aragorn. Naya counters, who would have thought? This one is a bit different, though. I feel like there is way too many steps involved in this. You have to attack to get renowned. You have to deal the damage to get renowned. And then the next turn, you have to deal the damage again once you're renowned to get the double counters. I think it's just a little too slow, but it's Naya counters, so.
Yeah, for the most part, Hunter, I'm kind of just going to agree with you. I don't think that this is really the best card whenever it comes to this kind of strategy. It's cool that your attacking creatures also get first strike, so I think that's like at least an important little note. But as opposed to like most counter strategies where you really want to go wide, I don't know if this actually rewards you enough for it. And coming in at 4 mana, this card seems like a little bit too, I want to say slow, maybe more mid-rangey. I don't know. I'm not actually the biggest fan of this card.
I just
I
don't
think I like
understand.
renown, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't like all these hoops.
I don't either, dude. Seems weird. And like you said, David, you only get the 1/1/1, so I want it to keep going.
I mean, it technically does.
Or it'll be renowned though. Once it's renowned, it doesn't get the +1/+1. Like another
No,
one. I mean,
but-
sorry.
Yeah, it won't get another one, but if that creature with renown deals combat damage to a player, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it.
That is
See,
true.
when I first built this deck, I built it all around counters matter, obviously. And I looked
Yeah.
at other creatures that have renown as an ability, and every single one were all very selfish, and they only cared about themselves getting renown. This is the only card, Aragorn, that kind of just makes the strategy go a little wider with renown. So I didn't throw any renown creatures in the deck.
Is
Well, I
it
think
one of those
that's a pretty
mechanics
good
that's
way to
kind of
go
similar
about
to
it.
Exalted?
Yeah, I guess so. It's just, I don't know. It's slow. It's just really slow. And it's a bummer. But let's go ahead and move on to the grades for Aragorn. I'll start us off middle of the road. Aragorn gets a C.
Yeah, it's not my favorite card. I think I'm going to give this one a C and agree with you there.
I agree. C.
I kind of want to go lower, but I'm going to give this a C.
Aragorn Hornburg Hero is the average rate of a C. Next up, Galadriel Light of Valinor. It is 2, a green, a white, and a blue for a 3/3 legendary creature, Elf Noble. It has Alliance that says whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. You can add 3 green. You can put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, or you can scry 2, then draw a card. Steven, you built this one. What do we think?
This card's nuts. I mean, it honestly is amazing. This was a fun one to build. I kind of like the fact that white and blue are there, but I mean, I don't really think you need it. Honestly, this is just elf ball on crack.
I'm actually going to disagree with Steven on this one about his point about white and blue aren't necessarily needed. Most like elf ball decks, if you are going to build this as elf typal, most of those strategies don't have that blue or white. So having access to Bant here, I do think is really impactful. Also, with building like an elf deck, typically you have a ton of mana, but you oftentimes like run out of cards or your creatures are really small, and this commander fixes both of those issues with her scry and then also with the distribution of the +1/+1 counters. So I think that this is a commander that has the ability to come out early just by the nature of the deck you're probably going to be playing it in. And then from there, it's really just going to like enhance your board and get out of control super quickly. And that's kind of what we saw when we were playing against this deck too. I think that it has the potential to be very consistent.
Yeah, and that hasn't been chosen this turn text seems irrelevant. Because I feel like Steven did stuff on every single one of our turns. Like this card was out of control very quickly.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Remember your triggers.
I completely agree with all of you. I think this card is absolutely nuts. It's basically all the... I mean, just adding 3 greens for 1 creature coming in, that's enough. Like
Seems good.
That ramp is just crazy. Just make a token, have 3 green. Make a token, have a 1/1 counter on your whole team. Cathar's Crusade. It's so good.
Yeah, especially with this not needing a token, like not needing an actual physical card. So tokens do pop off on this. This card is just like, I feel like this is honestly just miles better than the other Lord of the Rings holiday cards.
And again, Shane, going back to what you said originally about the choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn, that is 100% needed. Because if you were able to do multiple things, like twice, that would be busted.
I completely agree. I'm just saying, like, that as a safety valve didn't really seem that much of a safety valve because he was popping off so much before it was his turn again. Like, no, I agree. It definitely needs to be there, but it being there doesn't really slow the deck down at all.
Yeah, well, let's move on to the grades. Steven, what do you got?
This is an A.
This is an A, Steven. You are right.
I concur. This is an A.
We are all in agreement.
2 for 2, boys. Galadriel, average grade, A. Next up, Gandalf of the Secret Fire. It is 1, a blue, a red, and a white for a 3/4 legendary creature avatar wizard. It says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand during an opponent's turn, exile that card with 3 time counters on it instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. Then, if the exiled card doesn't have Suspend, it gains Suspend. David, you did Gandalf. What do we think of Gandalf of the Secret Fire?
Well, I have thoughts, and just not many of them are very good. I don't think that Suspend as a mechanic is one that is actually very strong, or for that matter, actually even really all that playable. It's just, it's very telegraphed. It's incredibly slow. It forces really weird play patterns. And with this one really only going to be able to trigger off instants, because without some support, the sorcery aspect of this card doesn't really matter a whole lot. I feel like it's not only just like really slow, but also very restrictive. So assuming that you cast this on turn 4, you're probably going to cast your first instant on turn 5, and then you get it back on turn 8. I mean, that'd be pretty impactful because at that point, the game is coming to a close. And in fact, actually, in the games that we did play, I don't know if we ever made it to turn 8.
You better hope that your first spell isn't a counterspell.
See, and Shane brings up a really good point there too, is that like not all instants are instants that you want to bring back too. Like some of them, just like general interaction, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that suspend mechanic.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. Unless they just happen to play into it on the turn that it comes off suspend, which, why would they? Question mark? I don't know. Yeah, just seemed weird.
I actually really enjoy this card. I play a couple decks that require me, not really require, but that kind of like play around Flash. So this kind of brings me back to that, and it's a style that I actually enjoy playing. The draw, play a land, pass is kind of fun. It's terrifying, especially in this color scheme. I know it sounds crazy. I actually don't think I'm putting any counters into this deck, just for the one fact that when you play that counter spell, it really doesn't do anything because it goes on suspend. I mean, at that point, like, what's, it doesn't really do anything for you. I mean, is this very slow? Yes. Is it going to be quite an expensive build because you have to build it to be a faster deck? Yes. But I think this is a really fun way to play. I actually do enjoy it.
Honestly, you mentioned the color scheme that you really like. I would replace blue with black, and it would be so much better in my opinion.
I mean, I agree. I think adding black to this would be kind of fun. I don't know if I would get rid of blue.
Yeah, I disagree with you on the reduction of blue as well. Most of the really good cards that I did want to be able to get back on the suspend were blue. So if anything, I would love to drop the white because there's not really a whole lot of good instants in white that I feel like I really wanted to take advantage of.
Maybe a swords.
A lot of exile effects, yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, you get like swords and path, but blue also gives you access to single mana spot removal, and then black gives you access to some cards that hopefully can help close out the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It would be something though, David, if you had black in this and you were able to cast Torment of Hellfire twice.
So that you can suspend it a second time and not get any value off of it?
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, X cost spells equal no bueno.
That's right. Forgot about that part. Let's move on to the grades. David, what are you giving Gandalf?
I'm going to give this a solid F. I think that this card is actually just not playable.
I don't know if I'm going as low as an F. I'm probably going to give it a D just because of the way it ends up playing, but it does something.
I mean, I think I'm pretty much in the same ground on all these commanders except for Galadriel. I think they're all just really slow. And I think that's kind of like what's skewing a lot of the grades that we might be feeling. But I'm gonna put this at a C.
I'm going to agree with Steven here. I'm giving Gandalf a C as well. Gandalf of the Secret Fire gets the average grade of a D. Moving on to the final card from this winter Lord of the Rings set. Witch King, Sky Scourge. 5, a black and a red for a 5/5 legendary creature, Wraith Noble. It's got flying. Whenever you attack with one or more Wraiths, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is their total power. You may play those cards this turn, and this also has Undying. Shane, you built Witch King. What do we think of this?
Oh, boy. Out of the 4 of these, I do think, just staring at this card, to me, it was the weakest by far. I thought it had a really weird synergy where I wanted to play Wraiths and I wanted to, let's say, maybe not just attack with this Wraith, but then it's almost like I'm speeding up decking myself. And then when I do that, let's say I play this commander for 7, it's going to literally do nothing for 1 turn, maybe 2. And then the cards you exile, I'm only going to get the chance to play that 1 turn. Like, it just did so many different things, like, weird. And I don't think, like, it reminded me a bit of, I mean, I guess it's a very far stretch, but like a Prosper effect where it exiles a card and you can play it. But Prosper obviously is like leaps and bounds so much better than this card. I was not impressed with this card at all, especially by playing it.
Yeah, I agree. It's a weird ability when we've seen this ability happen over and over where they say you may play those cards until your next turn. And it
not
shocks
this one.
me. It absolutely shocks me that it didn't say it this here because just the insane amount of mana you have right now. I get it. I think it's probably thinking, all right, he's going to bring this down turn 7 and he'll swing in next turn. He'll have at least 7 mana to cast the stuff he spent. He flipped over. But still, you're just exiling all the cards you couldn't play.
7 mana, this thing dies, and then it's like, okay, 9. Like, no, this. I mean, I get it has Undying the one time, but exile. I don't know. This card was just. It did not feel good.
I'm going to disagree with you on this one.
Go ahead.
So Rakdos has quite a bit of treasure production, so I don't think this card is going to cost you 7 mana in most like occurrences. I think this is probably going to come down earlier than that. Plus, you also have access to different rituals that have the ability to give additional mana in these color combinations as well. So, like, you talk about this card being slow, and yes, I will agree with you. 7 mana is a massive amount, but I don't think it actually drops on turn 7 most times. I think it probably drops maybe closer to turn 5. And then the turn that it drops, assuming you have other Wraiths in your deck, it will trigger if you're getting in for damage. So, I do think that this card is impactful much earlier than what it reads. And in a sense, it's also kind of a card that's going to dissuade your opponents from interacting with it directly because of that Undying. They need to find an exile effect, which given, yes, like in EDH, a lot of removal is exile, but anything that does say like destroy target creature or any board wipes are not going to be effective here.
Yeah, I think this was my my second favorite, if I have to be honest with you. Galadriel was my number one because I love elves. But this came very close second, just because I mean in this color scheme, it just gets aggressive very quickly.
Hunter, you're our number crunch guy. How many rates are there?
David, there are only 10 other cards that are rates, including the Witch King.
Yes,
that
but
are
one
in
of them
the
you can
color.
have 9 copies of.
Oh, and I
okay,
did.
yes. Yeah, that's true. Shane did build it that way. But let's move on to the grades. Shane, starting with you.
I'm gonna give this a D for sure.
I agree with you there. Witch King is also going to get a D from me too.
I'm gonna give this the same grade as pretty much everything else. I'm gonna give this a C. I think everything's been pretty middle of the road except my Bay.
I'm going to agree with Steven on this one. I think this card is also just kind of middle of the road. I'm going to give this a C.
Well, Witch King Sky Scourge is going to get the average grade of a C. And that is going to do it for us today. Quick little video. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. In the description, you will see links to our social media accounts. That's Twitter or X, TikTok, and Instagram. That's at Guys Who Match for each one. Also in the description, like from the beginning of the video, our Patreon. Yes, you can go and check out our Patreon. That would be great. And if you wanted, you can comment down below. Do you agree with these grades? Do you disagree with these grades? Let us know. We're always interested in hearing your guys' opinions. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Later.
Bye.
Bye bye.